All right. Well, I am here with Jaime Hope, one of my new favorite people in the whole world. Jaime is just such a joy to be around. Her energy and laugh is contagious in a good way. Speaking of being contagious, she is an ER doctor. She does work at one of the busiest hospitals and ER rooms in the country. And she's taken some time to join us here today. Besides being an ER doctor, she is an author. She's an investor. She is part of all kinds of cool tribes and groups, such as the Lifestyle Investor Mastermind, Go Abundance Women. The list goes on and on and on. Really, it's what hasn't Jaime done. But Jaime, thanks for joining us.
Oh, Justin, I'm so excited to be here. I love what I've learned from you. I'm so excited to support this and just have an awesome chat together. This is going to be great.
Well, I'm thrilled. And, it's fun. Like when you think about, hey, who do we want to do some cool live stream events with? And yours was really easy because you have reached out so many times, offered so much value. You're like, hey, let me tell you about this. I've done this before. I've been an author and I learned this, or I didn't do this, or let me connect you with this person. You've got to meet them. You're just a wealth of knowledge and you have such a great network and you're always willing to help other people. And I've seen this not just for me and for this process, but I've seen it inside the Lifestyle Investor Mastermind because you're always helping people in the group. So it's awesome.
I've had so many opportunities to meet and learn from such smart people. So I'm not going to pretend I invented anything about a book launch or becoming a best-selling author. It was the opportunity because of the awesome people I know and what I learned from them, and then getting to share that forward. And we're all better when we share the knowledge and just help each other out. Think of how much better the world is when more people get the message that, an important message like this. Who doesn't want to be financially free? I mean, is there anyone that's really for real not going to raise their hand like, no, I want to work till the day I die? That sounds great. Nobody wants that. And I have to say, I didn't have this knowledge. So I got the ebook right away because I didn't want to wait like a whole day and a half for a book to arrive. How dare it take so long? But I like this format because I can go through, I abuse books. I highlight, I write in them because it becomes a part of the work that I'm doing, and go back and flip through it so many times. It's so important. So for more people to have the opportunity to learn this stuff that I had no idea is such a great opportunity.
Well, I'm curious to know. Thank you, by the way. I really appreciate the kind words. What are some of the big takeaways that you've gotten, either A, from the group, B, from the mastermind, C, from just, any outside conversations that we may have had or you may have had with other members of our community?
Oh my gosh. So let's rewind to the beginning. So growing up, what I didn't learn a ton about money, except for that we didn't have very much of it. And then in college, I didn't learn much about money except for all the people that are trying to give you a free t-shirt to sign up for a credit card, and watch some of my friends rack up some debt. Thankfully, yeah. I did not do that. That was ridiculous. I didn't learn a ton about money in medical school except for paying them 6 figures to attend. Totally worth it. Still love it. Love being a doctor, but there's definitely some financial costs. But really, you're so busy learning how to save lives, you're not learning a ton of financial literacy. So in the ER, I didn't have to. I could kind of bury my head in the sand a little bit, because one of the best parts about being an ER doctor is I don't care if you have money. I don't care if you have ID. I don't care if you're wearing nothing. Like, you can show up to the ER. We're going to take care of you regardless. We don't have to worry about it. Versus some office-based physicians who leave and you're supposed to start a business. And how do you do that? So I did the usual advice. So I got my 401k, or in my instance, a 403b, but that's just nerdy initials. And, then you put some money in, when you have some, invest a little bit, and then work, and you'll have a retirement fund, and everything is great, except for I kept asking questions like, aren't there better ways to get tax advantages? I mean, as my friend Tim says, I never want to do anything illegal, immoral, or fattening. I don't want to be interesting to the IRS in any way. I would like to be the most boring person on their list, but there have to be ways, right? And I kept asking, and they're like, no, just invest some in the stock market, maybe a money market account. keep some money in your savings account. I'm like, okay, people keep telling me that, but I don't think that's right. And then, some people you can invest in real estate, but I just didn't have that knowledge. And I coasted for a few years. I'm working, I love my job, I have kids, but I just kept coming back to, I feel like there's something I'm missing here. And it's like in medicine, I wouldn't just learn half of the body and not the other half. So it just kept tickling my mind and bothering me. And then as I started joining all these entrepreneurial groups and meeting people, I'm like, wow, these people don't necessarily from their day job make much more than I do, but they have way more money than we do. I'm like, there is the answer. It's how to make your money work for you. Now, I don't necessarily want to be trading my time for money forever, but I love being a doctor. I love treating patients. It's an honor. It's a privilege. And by doing these steps, I can choose when I work and how often I want to work. And so when you have that choice, it takes away just some of the stress of the job, and it just makes everything so much more fun. So I went from almost financially illiterate to now I'm throwing around terms. And I was in a conversation with one of my friends. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm really excited about my non-direct recognition whole life life insurance policy investing that I'm doing. Literally had no idea what those words even meant about it a year ago, right?
I love it.
And so, yeah, and that's the tip of the iceberg. I have taken so many notes, and I feel I don't understand all of it. I'm still learning, but I've had a million years of school. I'm a really good learner. I love it. It's so interesting in learning all the different nuances and possibilities. It opened up this huge world, and I'm so excited to be part of it.
Well, that is so cool to hear. And what's great is, Jaime, you're such an active learner. I mean, you are hungry as you are literally as hungry as any person I have ever met to learn and to just know. And it's not just even in investing, it's just in life in general. But you show up that way, in our mastermind sessions, and you show up that way in, all the things that you do. And you're such an advocate for what it is that you believe in when it's had positive impact on you. I think that's so cool. And I also love hearing, hey, I want to be a lifestyle investor, but I love what I'm doing. I don't have to stop what I'm doing. I can just kind of shift what I'm doing to be a little more on my terms, and then maybe I'll even love it more, right?
Yes. Yeah, when you're not like they say in medicine, the term is golden handcuffs. So you make good money, but if you ever quit working, like if I don't work a shift, I don't get paid. That's there's no salary, there's no whatever. It's you work, you get paid. And so some people have lived such a lifestyle that they have to work X number of shifts just to pay for their boat and houses and stuff like that. And I'm not saying I don't want to have stuff. I prefer experiences over stuff though. But I want to, so if my passion, I know, right? Even with my kids for Christmas, I'm like, what do you want for Christmas? And they named a few toys. They're like, we want to go to Mexico, or we want to go do something. That's
cool.
So I think I've done a good job with the kids.
Yeah, you've done a great job. Tell us more. What type of ER doctor are you? Give us kind of what you work on a regular basis.
So where I work, Beaumont Health outside of Detroit, is one of the busiest level 1 trauma centers in the country. So what that means is we see everything, anything that comes to our door. So if you have a cut finger or a sprained ankle, or you've been shot or hit by a car, absolutely. Oh, good. There's my dogs barking in the background. Now, see, that's typical life sim. My big fluffy rescue dogs. I love them. All comers, no matter what. And so you never know what to expect. Nobody makes an appointment, so they show up when they show up, and we take care of everything. And it's amazing. I see people on the worst day of their life, and I think it's really important to have somebody there who likes what they do and has the energy and wants to be there. So when you have cash flowings, you can, you want to be taking good care of your health, getting sleep, all of those things. It just, all the other things can fall away, and you can focus on the person in front of you and really make a positive impact in their lives.
Well, your patients are lucky, because I can tell you, if I'm having the worst day of my life, I want someone with your energy and expertise and outlook and just framework on life. So that is really cool. And it's cool that you love what you do, and that you see that you have a purpose in it, that like you have impact, and that it is inspiring to you.
Justin, it's so funny because I had a few, I assume well-meaning but misguided mentors tell me along the way, I'm too nice for emergency medicine. I'm like, That's absurd. People are stressed and having a bad day. They don't need somebody who's mean. What the heck?
That's a good point. I mean, yeah, that's exactly right. Wow. Well, I luckily, I have not had to be in the emergency room for, crazy trauma. But the closest thing to it was kidney stones. And it felt like it was crazy trauma. I didn't know what was going on, but I was pretty happy to have a staff and a team that was really enjoyable. Like that made a big difference. And one of the guys, the first male nurse that I saw, I mean, he just cracked me up. He was hysterical. And then I'm trying to remember the anesthesiologist. He had quite the sense of humor. And so it was great. Like, I'm feeling like, to a certain degree, I'm feeling like I'm dying over here. I don't know what's going on, but they're keeping me laughing.
Yes. Yeah. It's a stressful moment. And with a good team around you, it makes a big difference. So
For sure. Although it's kind of a funny experience when you decide to go on vacation to a city, visit some family, you're at a place you don't know. And then, first day in, you're like, oh, I don't know what's going on, but I think we have to go to the emergency room now.
Oh, no good. Oh man. Kidney stones are a bummer. We see that a lot.
Yeah. And you're like, that's easy. But I'll tell you what, for any of you that have ever had kidney stones, man, it is, that's a real one. That's crazy.
I know somebody who had a baby and a kidney stone and said the kidney stone was worse. So.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I can see, someone once said that if you were going to compare something, that would be the closest thing. And so knowing what I went through, I have so much more appreciation for all the women out there having babies, because man, oh man, that was tough.
Well, at least with a baby, you get a prize at the end. It's like, here's an adorable kid. I guess you could take your kidney stone home, but...
Yeah, well, the prize, that was the prize to come later. I was like, you'll eventually, find your kidney stone. So, it wasn't a right away thing.
Yeah, definitely. No, but that team makes all the difference. And I have to say, with meeting this group, first of all, everybody, there are people who are much more sophisticated investors than I am, and a few other beginners. But having that team, so people that I can go to ask questions and not feel stupid because I'm a beginner. It's like when I was first learning medicine, I didn't feel stupid because I didn't know everything. It's part of the learning process. That's how I'm looking at it.
Right.
But just, chat with some of the guys like Will Duffy, who's like the man. I love Will Duffy. I'm actually one of his clients. He's so good helping me.
He's awesome. I love working with him.
He's brilliant. He nerds out on tax code the way I nerd out about medicine. So
that's right.
I don't understand half of what he's saying, but I get the passion.
Yeah, and you need people like that in your circle that are they're so brilliant at the thing that they do. And you just want to surround yourself with as many of those people as you can, because you're probably, you're going to have your one or two areas where you're just head of class, but, most areas you're not.
You're one of the few people I've ever met that knows all of them. Like I have friends who are masters at syndication, or masters at multifamily investing, or their thing, and they're so good at it. And those are the people I go to ask questions. Like I love sending Hans questions all the time. Anytime we're in a group, I'm always like, what does that mean? And he's so gracious about answering and being helpful. And Tamar Hermes is super smart. But first of all, everybody. When we were chatting, you're like, this person, I love that. You can tell that somebody has, integrity and offers value first, because they have so many people that want to be in their network. They have those relationships, not just that you're meeting them for the first time, but you like those deep relationships because you provide value. So I see that about you, and that was one of the things that drew me to this group. And then having that bench of smart people that you can ask questions to, and somehow like a ridiculous amount of stuff.
Well, thanks for the kind words, but I actually think you know more people than I do. So it's a nice compliment to get. I feel the same way. I'm like, how does Jaime know everyone? So, I can repay that favor evenly. But I actually think that your network is much larger. I mean, you're like best friends with everyone.
I've had the fortune to meet a lot of really cool people. And then some people that are, as Joe Polish says, who he's a dear friend of mine, the people who are the dominoes. So, I mean, Joe Polish is wonderful. And he introduced me, the Genius Network folks and all those people. And, the genuine relationships that you make. Remember when we used to get to do stuff in person? I can't wait till we get like hugs again. And just meeting, the GoBundance tribe is amazing. This tribe, and there's some crossover. So we have some links and people that we know together. So
yeah,
just
for sure.
That team. But you're like an ER doc and this is a huge compliment, because you're a nerd. And
thank you.
In ER, so we have to know something about everything. Like in OBGYN, they're masters at delivering babies. I don't necessarily want to be delivering a baby in the ER, but if someone comes in crowning, I'm sure gonna. So you got and then next patient's a heart attack, and next one's a broken bone, and all. So you have to know all these different things. And the breadth of knowledge you have about all the totally different, unrelated investments is just impressive. I'm like, you're a ninja. I love it.
Well, thank you very much. It's very kind to hear. I have worked hard at educating myself in a lot of different areas. And I tell you, there's a lot you can read in books, but when you really put your money to work, I feel like that's when you learn the most. And so, I feel blessed to have had so many smart people around me, great friends, a great peer group, great mentors. Whether they know it or not, a lot of my mentors are just authors that I read all their books. I've never met them, but they're my mentor. And then, real life mentors that I do have a personal relationship with. And to me, that's what life's about, is these relationships. It's one, having great relationships, and two, constantly learning, finding new things to learn and improve yourself and get out of your comfort zone. Like that to me is it. It's a 1-2 punch.
Yes. Oh, I do. I love, my shelf over here, you can't see it on this camera. I have an absurd number of books. I hoard books, but I do a lot of audiobooks as well. Yeah. So I'm super excited. So to me, like, to listen to this, and then if this is my reference, then I can go back to and flip. Like, I feel like I need to read that again, or I want to write a little note there. So just the different ways we consume it. But yeah, I could, like, all those people, my mentors. I mean, Zig Ziglar, the original gangsta of motivational speaking.
Oh yeah.
I do a lot of speaking stuff. Brian Tracy, all these people that I learned from along the way. So yeah, I don't know all of them in person, but yeah, there's the world's knowledge is out there. And so I was doing all kind of business reading and entrepreneurial and, motivation and health. I'm super into that. But finance for me was kind of that frontier. I needed to not be intimidated. It is a bit of a boys' club, which is okay. I know a lot of very smart women in finance, but some of the deals were made out on the golf course. And these are things that we didn't necessarily have access to. And as a doc, I had no idea. There's no way I would have found Chicago Atlantic on my own. And it's not available publicly. So learning, I think it's not. So I always knew, I'm like, I know that you have to know people to do this, but to truly feel empowered, that step, like, educate myself, meet people. The first time you throw down a big investment, it's a little scary, but it's so exciting.
It is.
Got the Pier 1 in Chicago Atlantic, and it's just starting to grow. So I'm a beginner, but like you said, I'm a good student. I'm the nerd of the class, and I'm not afraid to.
And it's awesome. And once you get your money exposed, as long as you do your homework and you know that the odds of losing money are not good. I mean, there's always risk. There's risk in anything. But if you can mitigate as much risk as possible, once your money's in, you learn a lot more, and it's cool. And I heard you talking earlier about Hans Box. He, by the way, his podcast episode is going to come out in a few days. Nice. And he is just one of the best at analyzing deals. And so if you want to learn from a guy, especially in the real estate world, how to not lose money, I mean, he's a great guy. So Thursday, you'll hear that one, or at least it'll be released for anyone that wants to listen. And then you were talking about sometimes you listen to audiobooks and have the real book. I do that all the time. I love it.
Yeah, totally.
I think it's the best. And I'll pause
That's
it in
the
the
audio. You can tell I really like a book because I buy it on Audible. I should just send Audible my paycheck. It's worth every dime. You can tell if I actually really like a book because I listen to it on Audible and then I get it because
that's
I'm
cool.
Like, I want more. So that's how you can tell the legit ones that I actually do read.
I love it. Well, for those that don't know, my Audible is going to come out here in the next couple of weeks whenever Amazon chooses to release it. It's on them, and they're kind of delayed, and I don't know why it takes so long, but they've had the files for a while, and whenever it comes out, it'll come out. But I did an extra interview after each chapter with my friend Carrie Overbrunner, and it's really cool. So I'm excited for when people have an opportunity to listen to the book as well.
Yes. Yeah, I was
cool.
in medical school. I was always such a visual learner. I mean, that was back in the day with PowerPoint kind of, but whatever. They would put up an overhead and then read it to you. Like we're not literate. I don't know. The most foreign possible way to educate people. Fortunately, med ed has come a long way, and now I actually teach at a medical school.
Oh, cool.
I can't do that. I'm like, you cannot bore people into learning. It's not going to work.
That's right. I can imagine you being an amazing instructor and teacher and professor.
Thank you. And you know what? It's so fun. Those are my passions. I figured out at a pretty early age. So here's kind of a silly story. So it was the 90s. And so I was around 10, and my BFF Erica and I were jumping on a trampoline. But keep in mind, this is the 90s. So there was no safety net or padding around it. So it was big, and then just rusty metal springs. I mean, we might as well have just sprinkled some broken glass around it and like completed the thing.
I remember the day of those. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we're jumping
Many
on it.
injuries from a trampoline. The coils, the launching. Yeah.
Oh, no, we did that. So we were jumping with a big kid named Ben, because that, then you get a bigger bounce.
Yep.
And so he landed and Erica landed, and she went flying in the air onto the ground. And obviously the screams were pretty immediate. So I slid across the rusty metal springs to jump down, and her elbow was bent in a way that elbows are not supposed to bend. I know, sorry, I'm not grossing you out. But even as a kid, I remember, this is so weird, Justin. I was looking at her arm thinking, if I twisted, I might be able to get that back into place.
Whoa.
Now, that's probably not terribly normal for someone around 10.
I'd say you were very unique in that.
Yeah, fortunately, she was smarter than me in that moment. She's like, no, you weirdo, go get my mom. Like, what are you doing? But I realized that it bothered me that I didn't know what to do in an emergency at that age. So I started taking first aid classes through the Red Cross when I was old enough, and I went to the library and checked out a bunch of first aid books. And in my first aid classes, as I was sitting there taking it, I was thinking, oh, I would teach it like this. And so it didn't take, I was very young when I realized I am a healer and a teacher. That's just who I am and what excites me. So I feel really fortunate, and I didn't know. Again, so you have some well-meaning advisors that tell you have to pick one or the other. You were wrong. I can do it all.
That's awesome. That's cool. And that's a great story.
Science, then you can't do finance, or you can't do this. I'm like, here, the equivalent of here, hold my beer. Here, hold my tea. Watch me.
And it's cool you knew at a young age, like that was a curiosity, a fascination. You weren't freaked out by it. You were actually curious about it.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I love it. So what is new and inspiring in your world right now? What are, like, this 2021, we're in a new year, and I know you're all about kind of like, being intentional and having a plan. What's this year about? What's new and what's exciting?
So I've always had goals. I think pretty much any successful people, you have goals and written goals. What's the expression? 3% of Americans have written goals and everybody else works for them.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I heard that. I'm like, oh no, I'm going to write all mine down right now. So in terms of workouts, I've always been really good with that. I stopped tracking veggies years ago because I eat 5 to 7 servings a day. So those things, I took goals and turned them into habits. So they're so remote, you don't even think about it. So that's one of my favorite things I teach people. So in the ER, I see people on the worst day of their life. And then the rest of my career is dedicated to helping people upstream so they don't ever have to end it on the worst day of their life.
That's cool. So
this year I took, the concept of gamifying something to make it fun.
Oh, yeah.
I decided I'm going to goalify. Like, what can I make a goal this year? Like, how many times I'm going to floss this year? And you have to check it off each time because we get that mental satisfaction, the little dopamine hit from checking off a thing. So I made I have an app and goals for the whole year. So I have to do X number per year. So, and then it divides into what is that a day. So if it's, on average 55 squats a day, it's 20,000 squats this year.
Wow.
And so some days you'll do more or less, but then you see that like those old thermometers where you were raising money with stuff. Like I'm seeing my, it's only January, so I've got a long way to go. I'm not going to do 20,000 squats in January. I'm going to end up in an ER. But so it's fun. I'm like, what can I count and track? And so I'm just, it's fun and making it that goal setting.
Yeah, and you're making it easy because, like, think about these squats. Like, you could do those in the ER, like in a break room or something.
Totally. Oh yeah, it's amazing. And just being healthy in general. Like we both have. This is my stand-up desk. I love my absurd number of plants. By the way,
hey, you're getting good oxygen.
I know. Well, it's a little chilly here. I'm in Michigan, so I need to come visit Austin because it's kind of cold. It's 28 degrees and kind of gray. So I'm just making my own inner jungle here.
Well, I feel like the last couple of days it was a little chilly everywhere because, we had snow in some different places. I mean, I was watching a video of people in Madrid having a snowball fight, and I guess they haven't had that much snow in 65 years.
Oh my God. Well, I saw my friend David Osborne, who lives in Austin. He posted a picture with his son with a little snowman that they made on their deck. It was so cute with an actual carrot.
I love it. I love David. He's also a good friend. He's going to be joining tomorrow for the book launch.
Yes. He's another person that I've connected with and love learning from. I have his book. I mean, he's New York Times bestselling author. Amazing. Wealth Can't Wait.
Can't Wait.
Another one of those that I've read multiple times. I flipped through. I've learned a ton. I've learned so much from David. I love his philosophies and stuff because we all have whatever our childhood thoughts and fears and energies around money. And money is just energy, and it can be abundant and it can work for you instead of having that fear lack mindset. And that's what he started, GoBundance. And so just really that whole mindset that's helped push me down the path to where I'm going now, which is awesome.
Yeah. And you got to be careful too with money, as with all things, whose beliefs did you adopt when it comes to money and investing? Because most of the time it's not yours, because you come in with a set, let's call them a set number of rules or just things that except that you've never had any experience. So how do you know all this stuff? Why do you think all this stuff? Someone is influencing you. Hopefully that influence has been a good influence, but it's important to take a step back and say, hey, are these my beliefs? Have I really gone deep into this to decide what my philosophy is? Or did I just inherit my parents or my bosses or my coach or whoever it is?
Yeah, it's amazing how much of this was a mindset thing. And am I bad or evil or selfish for wanting more money? But one of my biggest motivators is I want to give away $1 million. I am very deeply connected with supporting causes like human trafficking. And I go all over the country to teach ER docs and medical staff how to recognize these victims so they can help recover them. It's the second largest criminal enterprise in the world. And do stuff with COTS Detroit here with homelessness, where it's not just a shelter. It's an opportunity to teach them financial literacy, how to get and keep a job and stuff. And it's a hand up so they can change their lives. And I get so passionate about these causes, and I realize that it's great for them to have my time and my talent, but they need money to keep the lights on. So if I can do things and educate myself and make money, I can help way more people. And for me, that was kind of the last light bulb I needed to get that mindset that it's okay to want to make money, because money is a tool and I can use that tool to help so many lives.
Yeah, that's awesome. And, you said human trafficking, and I believe you're aware that, this first portion of all the proceeds, so all the proceeds of the Lifestyle Investor book are going to go to charity. And the first round is going to Love Justice International, who's going to be on tomorrow for our launch day at 10 a.m. tomorrow. So I'm really excited about that. But I'm excited that you know a lot about human trafficking, because most people don't. Think about, most people in America, they're probably like, oh yeah, I could see that happening in third world countries. It happens right here. It's rampant in virtually every state in the US. It's really crazy and really sad.
It is. It's so much. It's so widespread, and it doesn't look like what people think it does. You might have seen an episode of Law and Order where they rescue a bunch of people from a basement and they're all like, yay, we're free, we're great. There's a lot of trauma healing that people need to do after they get recovered. it's a much bigger problem than people realize. And it does occur in every zip code. And so what drew me to that, I know people said, oh, you should give away part of the proceeds from your book to charity. And you're like, all, I'm in. And I think that is, I love that about you. I think that it's so genuine. You make good money because you follow your principles. And so too, the amount of time it took you to write a book, believe me, I know how much time it takes to write a book. And then you write it, and then there's still editing and blah, 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 like 50 other things. So you put that time and effort. And so then to give that, the income from that to a cause that, especially something so important and so big, like it warms my heart. I think that's so important. It's so giving and generous, and it just goes to show the kind of person that you are. Nobody told you have to do that. This is actually just you being genuine and who you are. And I really think that's awesome.
Thank you. Thanks for the kind words. I feel like I have been blessed with great people around me. And even when they weren't, I've been intentional about finding them. So I've had great people to model, and I've got a couple of friends that run a company called N2 Publishing, and that's Earl Seals and Dwayne Hickson. And these two guys are just wonderful human beings, class acts, great leaders. And they're the ones that originally introduced me to this company. And then I was coaching, for a while. I had I was kind of heading up investments for their company as like a consultant. And I was coaching a few of their executives or leadership team. And one of the guys that I was coaching said, hey, I feel like I need to connect you with Love Justice. And this is before I had made any decisions about where anything was going to go. So it was really neat to kind of see it unfold. But they've done vetting at a high level, and it has given me a lot of comfort. And I've had a chance to actually see live, what this team does. It's incredible.
Oh yeah. The people who are doing boots on the ground, it makes me feel humble. I'm teaching people how to recognize it so we can help people. But the boots on the ground people who are, finding these people, they're the justice, the trauma healing afterwards. These are amazing humans, and they need our support. It's great. They need the publicity. They need our time and talent, but they need money to function and to help more people. They need to transport them and shelter and all that stuff. So it makes such a difference. And I love that. I love that you're bringing attention to such an important cause. It's near and dear to my heart.
That's awesome. Well, if you have kids, I feel like it's hard for this not to be near and dear to your heart, because that to me is like one of the greatest injustices in the world of anything that could possibly happen. So, it's a great cause. And so we'll have an opportunity for people to donate tomorrow if they want to, as they learn more about it. That'll be one of the options. And my goal is to raise money for them. But so proceeds will get donated, but I want to create awareness so more people have the opportunity to connect there as well.
Yes. But yeah, the more people that know about it, the better opportunity they have to support it. And it's one of those things, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once your mind expands to that.
That's right.
And so that's how it's been, like all of this education. So, what I've learned about human trafficking, you can't unsee. What I've learned about finance and stuff like that, you find once you see it and start to understand it, then it becomes a part of you, and you get it. It's a nice new level to get to. It's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Well, this has been so awesome. I'm curious if there's anything we can do to help support you, Jaime. You've been a great support to me. Is there anything that you have going on that we can, help you with and add value to your world on?
I can tell you about a couple ways. So a couple ways that I love to help add value to people. So obviously the Lifestyle Investor Mastermind, if you're ready, it's big leagues. It was a little intimidating, but that was I forgot who it was that told me the expression. I think it was Michael Fishman that told me the expression, something is either expensive or valuable. And it wasn't even a question. I think you said like, okay, who's going to invest? And I was like, shut up and take my money. I was like the first one, because I know like the education and stuff like that. There are a lot of people out there, at various levels that are going to want different opportunities. So it depends on the kind of group you're looking for. Like you said, Justin, I'm fortunate that I'm connected with a ton of great groups. Genius Network is amazing. I love connecting people to that. It's the highest level marketing mastermind in the world. And then GoBundance. So they're the men and women's group, and that's how I know David through GoBendance, and that's a different, teaches you other types of stuff on the 6 pillars. And one of them is the financial freedom and horizontal income pillar. So lots of different ways there. For me, I get excited about helping people upstream. So I can help you turn your goals into habits and never end up sick enough to be there. So I have a book, and then I give away a lot of free content because I just really, really want to help people. So if there's anything I can do to help people feel better, that gets me excited. That's the kind of thing that gets me out of bed early in the morning. Starting
What's
off that
the name of your book? Tell us about your book.
Okay, I have. Oh, I'm a terrible author. Oh wait, here. Okay, here we go. Habit That. So.
And what is Habit That about?
There we go. So it's how to health up in 5 minutes a day. So Habit That. You're looking at something, any type of behavior that you're doing. More than 50% of our daily activities are just habits. Like you start brushing your teeth on the same side every time. And then you put your pants on the same leg every time. So realize how to take control of your habits. It's focused around health, but you can use it for anything, getting organized, business, anything like that. And so it's real, actual, practical tips. Because I love the big pie in the sky motivation, but just like New Year's confetti, motivation wears off pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And so how to truly keep that even on days that you don't feel like it. So I teach people a lot of activities about how to bust through roadblocks and all that kind of stuff. So.
Well, I love it. So I'm planning on getting this. I know my wife is going to enjoy reading it as well. So
and
that's
I tell
awesome.
ridiculous stories. I think the trampoline story is in the book.
Nice.
I take what I do very seriously, but you can tell I don't take myself very seriously. You got to have fun with life and, share those ridiculous stories. If we all walk around acting like we're perfect at everything, no one's going to believe anything we say anyway. So.
Well, I believe in the premise of what your book is all about and what you are about. So I think that's awesome. And I hope that a lot of people checking this out right now get a chance to check it out and really add value to their world. So that's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jaime, for joining today. This has been such a treat and so much fun. I'm excited for really you closed our series down. So this is the final one before the launch. So this was an important one. So thank you. You've been just a killer guest. So thank you.
Thank you. And what I want to tell people kind of, famous last words is don't be intimidated. If you're a beginner or don't feel like you know a lot about finance or you don't know what non-direct recognition whole life policy investing are, that's okay. That's the whole point of learning it. So take that step, be empowered. You don't have to start with millions of dollars because you wouldn't necessarily need this. This can take anyone from that step. And I'm in the process and I'm seeing it happen. This can work for anybody. So don't be scared of it. This is awesome.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that and for just more details on our kickoff and launch tomorrow. So the Lifestyle Investor launches tomorrow, the 10 commandments of cash flow investing for passive income and financial freedom. So my 10 criteria for why I invest the way that I do is available, and it goes live tomorrow. So our launch party is from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. We've got some really fun guests. We've got Amber Vilhauer of NG. She is going to be here to kick things off with me. We've got Love Justice International that will also be on at the beginning. We've got Ryan Levesque and Mike Koenigs who are going to be in the next session with me. So each group is going to be about 30 minutes or so, which is fun. And then we've got Brad Johnson, who's going to be on at 11 o'clock. He has the Elite Advisor Blueprint podcast and just started his own company. So he's the founder of the Digital Financial Advisor. So that's cool. We've got John Rulin of Giftology and Tim Nikolai, an investor. They'll be in the next series at 11:30. John Vroman, founder of Front Row Dads, one of my favorite organizations in the world and one of my favorite humans in the world. He'll be on at noon. And then at 12:30, my wife's going to join. By the way, she may join periodically throughout, but she's going to kick off the celebration at the end with me. We've got David Osborne, real estate investor and one of the top Keller Williams brokerages, the top Keller Williams brokerages, one of the top brokerages in the world. We've got Les McDaniel, who is now on Brandon Miller's team with Incredible Parent, which is cool. Casey Weed, who runs one of the top financial organizations in the U.S., and then Darius Mirshazadeh, who was on earlier, but he'll be back on with the core value equation. So I'm thrilled about the event and all the things that we're doing, and just excited for so many people to be supporting this launch in the way that they are. So Jaime, thanks for, again, your support on so many levels, for being here today and just all the extra things that you do. And I wish you a fantastic day, and we'll be able to celebrate some more tomorrow.
Yes, I'm excited. That is an incredible lineup. Like, that is such an all-star lineup. I'm so excited for you. And I do, when I truly believe in someone or something, I will go all in supporting them. And that's why I'm here. I love what you've taught me and the impact it's making on my family and my world. So thank you for what you do. It really makes a difference.
Very cool. Well, thanks so much, and we'll see all of you tomorrow.